Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got another drive time for you. It's Friday, the start of a fantastic weekend of sport coming up. We got the rugby, we got the football, we got the boxing. We just did a preview. Check it out on the channel as well. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Let me know your thoughts on that. Check it out right after this one. But we're going to be previewing here the Manchester Derby coming up. A lot of emotion behind this. First time both teams have met in a derby since the passing of one Francis Lee. Of course, what a baller he was. And of course, last week Sir Bobby Charlton as well. Very, very sad, you know. Really hurts at times when you think about these great players and the way they go. Even if you're a rival, even if you're a neutral fan and stuff like that, you have to pay respect to some of these great footballers from yesteryear. And no doubt tributes will be paid to, on Sunday at the Manchester Derby, and it's going to be absolutely sensational. But let's get into the game. Let's talk about the two teams and, you know, obviously coming into it and stuff like that. You know, both teams have struggled somewhat. If you look at Man City, those 2 or 3 games where Rodri was out and stuff like that, a huge loss to lose him and KDB, absolutely massive. But now that he's back, they look like they're somewhat humming again. Kind of made a bit of a meal out of Brighton last weekend, especially with Akanji getting sent off. You know, the game was probably tighter than what it should have been. But then during the week, going out on the course and just smashing up young boys as they do in the Champions League and stuff like that, getting back on track, ready for this derby. If you look at United, getting results, but it's kind of survival mode for them at the moment. That's how you feel, that they're never too far away from a really, really poor result coming. But they seem to be grinding it out and getting the job done. You know, massive goal the other night against Copenhagen from Maguire. Good to see him back at it somewhat and stuff like that. Still questions to be asked. Spoke to Darren last night on Thursday Tier Talk about it. Check that out. It's on the channel as well, with our tips and picks for Beat the Bookie as well, and our Premier League preview. But you get the feeling that, like, it's kind of with him, if he dropped the clanger on Sunday, all that good, you know, goodness that he has kind of built up over the last couple of games, stuff will be just washed away basically, you know. And also Onana saving that penalty right at the death will do him the absolute good in terms of his confidence and stuff like that. And that crazy tweeting off from Garnacho that people are losing their mind about, there's nothing racial in that tweet. It's absolutely stupid the way society is going on about this and talking about it and stuff like that. Why would your own teammate racially abuse you after saving a last minute penalty to secure a win in the Champions League that puts you somewhat back on track to maybe be able to do something? Just doesn't make sense. So let's move on from that, and let's not waste any time on that. Let the people who feel that there's something in that feel there's something in it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but let's take things on face value for what they actually really are and stuff like that, you know. But getting into the two teams, yeah, United, yeah, I mean, look, on paper and the way things have been going, you would expect Man City to go in here, get the job done comfortably and move on. But we know with these derbies, they're a great equaliser, and it's never really the case. I expect this to be actually quite a tight affair, believe it or not. Again, I'm not too sure in terms of United what way Erik ten Hag goes, what his plan is for this one. Does he keep it tight from the beginning? Does he put Eriksen in there straight away and try and get something on the board to hang on to early? Or does he wait to introduce Eriksen in the second half? What way is Pep thinking at the moment? Obviously, you know, is he going to put Grealish in there? We've seen how good Grealish is at getting lads booked. You know, he could expose Dalot on that side. You know, is he going to go with Jeremy Doku, who's been very, very impressive since he came in? You know, how will the Maguire-Varane combination hold up against Haaland? Will they be able to kind of, you know, keep him quiet and out of the game, as we've seen in some games where if you can get at him, get a bit physical with him and stuff like that, he doesn't really like it or appreciate it and sometimes goes missing in games. But Man City possess a threat all over the park. John Stones back in there now. Now if he starts inverting into midfield and stuff like that, giving Rodri that licence to push on a little bit more forward as well, who can be very, very dangerous. I spoke last night about Phil Foden. He's a guy who I think will pick up a goal on Sunday. I think when everyone is thinking about Grealish and Haaland and Julian Alvarez and all this kind of thing. I think Foden is the one that kind of just slips under the radar and does the business at times, you know. For United, a lot to digest there as well. What way does he work with Rashford, Højlund at the moment? Very, very blunt up front, stuff like that. For Højlund, it's not really his fault. He's kind of starved of service. You got Rashford on the left, who's kind of not sure in those key moments, those decisive moments, can't make up his mind whether he should pass or whether he should shoot. And over the last few weeks, we've seen he's been making the wrong choices. Eric put him back in there straight away after the international break, because obviously he had scored for England and stuff like that. Maybe wanted to try and keep that confidence going, but it hasn't panned out that way. They seem very, very blunt up front. On the other side, you've got Anthony back in there now after all that other stuff that was going on, but he's back playing. Excuse me. But he's in there. He's not doing or creating a whole lot either. Hence, Bruno's having to go out there at times and stuff like that. But Eriksen came on the other day, made a huge difference in terms of the changes. But I just feel with Erik ten Hag at the moment, he's kind of, I don't think he's really thinking about these things in a tactical way. I think he's just trying things, and it feels like he's just kind of getting away with it a bit. McTominay coming on, 2 late goals against Brentford. Eriksen coming on against Copenhagen, changing the game somewhat and stuff like that and all. But I'm not too sure if these are planned or if he's just throwing stuff at the wall to see what works. Obviously, Lissandro being out, Luke Shaw being out, Malacia being out, players like that being out, Kobe Mainoo's about to come back. He's not going to put him in there. He's hardly going to put Hannibal in there. So like it kind of somewhat picks itself. A lot of talk about David De Gea potentially coming back as cover for the AFCON for Onana and all that kind of stuff. You know, it just seems really strange at United at the moment. You know, very unlike Man United, if you like, as we have known. Again, for Man City, like I said, those 3 games are kind of a wake-up call for them. 2 losses in the league and the loss in the Carabao Cup. But certainly they've sprang back. Rodri's gone back in there and they look a much more solid unit. Every team on the planet would miss KDB, no doubt about it. Kanji is suspended for this one as well, picking up a silly double booking there on a red card the previous week and stuff like that when it wasn't needed against Brighton. Just silly from the lad, really, you know. What way do you think it's going to go? Where do you think the key battles are? Certainly Haaland and Alvarez and Maguire and Varane is going to be ferocious. The midfield is going to be ferocious. Does Casemiro go back in there now? Does he put Amrabat back in there after the substitution the other night? Let me know your thoughts on that. Is Casemiro ready to go back in? We know he stayed away a bit longer and he had an issue with the ankle or something like that. Is that all resolved now? He's going in against probably, I would say, the best number 6 on the planet, and probably City's best player. Darren has spoke about it before, you know, how we revere on Rodri, even in comparison to Haaland and stuff like that and all, you know. I suppose your head would tell you that this should be a reasonably comfortable day for Man City. Depends on what way they go about it as well. Do they go at it from the get-go, or do they sit and wait and try and expose it and see what way it works? Are United going to come out of the blocks fast with Eriksen on the pitch and try and get something that they can hold on to and then drop deep and see it out? Or will they wait and survey the landscape over the first half and then introduce Eriksen? The one thing you're guaranteed is you're not getting much more than 45 minutes out of Eriksen, and certainly not in that midfield. So if you start him, he's going to have to come out at half-time, because he is going to be banjaxed. You can see it in him at the moment. He barely has 60 minutes in him these days. So it'll be interesting to see what way Ten Hag goes with that one. That's going to be really, really interesting. But yeah, big game coming up, lots of emotion. Man City need to win, because obviously we think Spurs tonight against Crystal Palace, their likelihood they're going to win there. If City were to win then on Sunday, United would set 11 points off top of the league. You would think at that stage their journey is kind of, you know, they're going to end up in a top 4, top 5 race or whatever it is. A lot of really good teams there at the moment. If United were to win, that would really throw a spanner in the works. We've really seen how this league this year has been really tightening up and all, and it should make it really, really interesting. Who knows, maybe even Palace tonight might be able to get something for that game. I wouldn't be banking on it. I would expect Spurs to go out there and win. Palace have just been struggling. Zaha out of the building. Eze only coming back off injuries and stuff like that, but just Tata and all, just really struggling, looking very unlike Crystal Palace. But it is at Selhurst Park and anything can happen, so let's see how that goes. My prediction for the game, I think it's going to be a tight affair in terms of the score, but I'm thinking 3-2. I think there will be goals in the game. I think it will be 3-2. I think it will be tight right till the end. But I can't see anything other than a 3-2 win for Man City here, or a win for Man City. But let us know your prediction. Let us know down in the comments. I don't think the gulf is as great as what people are thinking. I don't think Man City this season have looked as good as they had in previous seasons. I think there's just a slight sort of, not a drop off, but just not very unlike Man City, going out at times and, you know, struggling a little bit against teams and marginally beating them and stuff like that. Man, Old Trafford on Sunday is going to be an absolute cauldron, especially with the tributes for Sir Bobby. Darren is going to be over there. He's going to be at the match, so I don't know, he might send me some vids if he has time or whatever it is. We'll see how it goes, and we'll put them up on the channel if they come through. If they don't, sure, we'll just give them stick on the WhatsApp group as we always do, depending on how it goes. Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know your predictions. What's your starting lineup? How do you see this going from a tactical point of view? What way is Pep going to approach this, and Eric Ten Hag? You know, big week coming up for Man United now. City on Sunday, Newcastle then during the week in the Carabao Cup. Two pivotal games. If they were to lose both of them, big questions being asked, you know, in this survival mode that they're in at the moment. But until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video. We're grinding here for you every day, and share the content. I'll talk to you again real soon. We'll be back tomorrow with a preview for the Liverpool versus Notts Forest game on the Shankly Sessions. And until next time, I'll talk to you again real soon. Have a safe weekend, enjoy the sport, go as crazy as you want, enjoy yourself. It's the weekend, most people are doing work-wise, and we'll talk again later.